Hi, I'm Jonathan Williams. I work at the University of Bath in the Department of Chemistry, and I've been awarded an EPSRC Dream Fellowship. Quite why they had to call them Dream Fellowships, I'm not sure. But anyway, as part of that, they've asked the Dream Fellows to put together some videos to say a little bit more about what the Dream Fellowships are about and what they mean to them. So they've actually provided us with 3 specific questions. And the first of these is, what does the Dream Fellowship mean to you? So really I think there are 2 main aspects to this. One of the first ones, I guess, is that it will just give me more time to concentrate on the research programs that we've already got running, but also, as well as that, to be able to take on more ambitious projects, perhaps things that we wouldn't have felt were in our comfort zone before, because I can learn about some of the science behind projects that are new to me. So that's going to be one interesting aspect. I think one of the driving forces for that, when I was looking back and thinking, okay, what have I been doing in terms of research? I've been an independent academic for about 20 years now, and I can actually just about trace back the chemistry that we're doing now to the last project, and then right back to the stuff that we started with at the beginning. It's very different chemistry that we're doing now, but there's still that tenuous link. I've never really taken a break and said, okay, let's start with a blank sheet of paper. Let's see if we start from something that isn't building what we've done, isn't related to what we've done. How can we then take forward some ideas from there? So some new projects that are outside of my comfort zone. I'm hoping to be able to tackle those when I'm on that. One thing that I have done already is I've reorganised the way that I run my weeks. At the moment I'm in my office at home, and it needs some decorating and some sorting out, but the principle is there and it's a functional office, and that gives me a little bit more uninterrupted time so that I can focus on getting projects done and thinking through things. I'm all linked up to the internet, and I can work from my office computer at work from home, which is kind of useful. Maybe one of the downsides of the Dream Fellowship is that it's called the Dream Fellowship. You get quite a lot of jokes about it, people popping by with a chirpy, "Hi John, still dreaming?" Yeah, okay, so still dreaming. Anyway, moving on from there, the next question is, how will I be spending my time? What will I actually be doing while I'm on the Dream Fellowship? So I've technically started on the Dream Fellowship, but I don't yet have the person in to take over my teaching, so it's sort of half on but not fully there just yet. The start, though, of this fellowship coincides for me with the end of a kind of research era. Over the last almost decade now, we've been involved in an area that we call borrowing hydrogen methodology. And borrowing hydrogen methodology is essentially the use of metal catalysts which take hydrogen away from a substrate, a compound, and that makes it more reactive towards doing a reaction. It goes away and does the reaction, and then the metal catalyst puts the hydrogen back kind of before anyone's noticed what's going on. So it's been a very successful project for us, but all good things come to an end, and the last student working on that, he's finished, he's done his Viva, he's gone off to New Zealand to postdoc over there. So in a sense it's then a bit of a risk in that I need to make sure I come up with some new ideas, and of course the group, my research group is doing that at the moment, and some things are looking really quite promising with some of the newer areas that we're moving towards. But it'd be nice to start looking at some other things which aren't going on in the group at the moment. So one of the areas that I'm particularly interested in is Bath has a strong track record in sustainable chemistry, green chemistry. We have the Centre for Sustainable Chemical Technologies. And what I'm hoping to do with that is to collaborate with some colleagues, some in chemical engineering and also in other areas of chemistry, to try to identify, well, we've got a couple of things that we want to start with. One is that we've got a conceptually new way of trying to generate biodiesel. Now we can start looking at that in a chemical lab on a small scale, but I want to collaborate with people who can then make that a scale-up, multi-ton process for making biodiesel. So that's quite an exciting challenge that we've got. Another area is that we want to use sunlight as the energy source for driving chemical reactions. And again, that's still going to be catalysis, but I'm going to need to find out more, particularly about electrochemistry and some areas like this in order to drive that forward. And so the thinking time and understanding the area behind it will be quite an important thing. Okay, back to the new ideas. One of the things that the Dream Fellowship or the Dream Fellows are being encouraged to do is to undertake some creativity training or creative problem solving. So I mean, I have to admit that to the start I was maybe a little bit sceptical about creativity training. You know, is someone just creative in the first place? Can you train someone to be creative? But I don't think it's about just that. I don't think it's thinking of the initial idea. As I understand it, what it is more to do with how you take that initial idea that you've got and then create a workable solution to it. So that your wacky idea, you then divide it up into sort of manageable chunks. You go away, you think about that, you try and put the pieces back together, and then at the end of the whole process, you try to take the initial, hopefully creative idea, and then deliver that into something that is in some way useful. So that's going to be interesting. We made a start on that with my research group. We had someone come in and do a one-day session, which I thought was really useful. My research group would rather have been doing something else, so in some ways that fell a bit flat, but I think at least I know now the areas that I want to concentrate on and focus on and look at the creative problem-solving process in more depth. Okay, what else? So one of the other things that I'm going to be doing quite a lot of is making some short visits to some of the leading academics in the world, or people who I consider to be the most creative chemists in particular in the world. What I'm hoping to do, or I'm starting to arrange to do this, is to go to stay with them for a few days. And it's not about trying to steal their research ideas, but what is it that is about them that has made them have the insights that they've had, that have allowed them to make the exciting chemistry that they've got in. So to try to work out how they've gone about that process, and then hopefully we can implement that ourselves back in Bath. Okay, the final question is, what do I personally want to get out of my fellowship? Well, following on from that creativity theme, I suppose what I want, and hopefully I'll have this then for the rest of my career, is to use those techniques from the creative problem solving, and hopefully that will stay with me and I can use those methods in order to try to harness the creativity and exploit it and get something that's deliverable out of that. Definitely want to be more ambitious with some of the projects that we take on. I want to stay out of my comfort zone and take on new challenges, not just what we've been doing for the last 20 years, another new catalyst, another organic reaction. There's a lot of commonality in what we've been doing, even though they're discrete areas. I want to push beyond that to see if we can carry on after the end of the fellowship, doing some useful things. It would be nice, of course, if all the ideas worked and it was very successful and we got some good papers out of it and did some good research and that it was useful stuff that people could actually use and do things with. Hopefully that will happen. We'll have to wait and see what ideas come out and whether the ideas that we've got do indeed work. Nice to be rich and famous at the end of it, but we'll have to see on that one. Is anyone still listening to this? Haven't you got anything else to do? That's it really, I'm finished. That's for me what the Dream Fellowship thing is about. Cheers.